Yeah. All right. How y'all are? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. We are honored to have Attorney General Jeff Landry in with us. First of all, good to see you, man. I knew it was you because I saw all the bodyguards, and Brad said they come and get you, they come and protect you. I said, I don't know yet.
Both. We come and get you. No, I think this is the first radio interview I've done since the election. And
by the way, congratulations. You know, a lot of people don't realize you ran a race. You had to win the race to go 4 more years, and you won convincingly, but you did win a race. Nobody ever talks about that, but you did win a race to go 4 more years.
Yeah, well, and look, I certainly want to thank all of the listeners out there that supported us over at the Louisiana Department of Justice. I mean, we really got a great staff who are committed to serving the people of Louisiana. We've worked real hard over the last 4 years. We got some great things that we're going to do over the next 4 years, and so we're looking forward to it. So I want to thank everyone. Thank you.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. Let's jump gears, though. You know, Jeff, you got involved. I know John Kennedy did, too, but you seem to be the main one and got involved in a lot of the House and Senate races, and you really wanted to make a difference, and so you did get involved. So now we got 68 House members. And all we have to do, and Brandon will tell you, all I said was after the election was you take these 68 people, you put them in a room and give them a piece of ham and 2 pieces of bread, or not be a little ham sandwich, no mustard, no mayonnaise. And I'm going to ask you a direct question. Are we going to screw that up? That worries me that you got 68 Republicans that don't go there and say, okay, we don't need the Democrats only for the leadership positions. In fact, they're going to be on committees and stuff. We understand that. Is it starting to concern y'all? Tell me what's going on.
Well, let me take a step back. You're right. I certainly want to give a shout out to Senator Kennedy for his willingness to join me in working with stakeholders in Louisiana, in the Louisiana Conservative Committee for Conservative Majority. We did a great job. Everyone really worked closely together. and you know, I can't speak for Senator Kennedy, but him and I have spoken many times as these leadership roles have laid out. I was very happy to see the article that came out in Advocate a few days ago about Senator Cortez being able to reach a consensus amongst Republicans in the Senate. I would hope that once he gets elected, or the next time the Senate has a delegation meeting, that they go through and basically memorialize a process, right? So we don't go through that again. And that's exactly where we are in the House. Now, of course, in the Senate, it's a little easier because you really just needed 27 people to come together, and you needed a majority of 27 to get there. You really needed 20 to get to the Senate president. In the House, it's a little more of a challenge. You got 68, right? And anytime you increase the number of people, it's always kind of harder to forge some consensus. But you're exactly right. What we're experiencing in Louisiana are growing pains. What amazes me, though, Moon, is the fact that we don't have enough vision yet to have put in place a process. Over the last 4 years, the legislature finally gained some independence in the House, right? The House. They, in my opinion, they were real lucky. They had a statesman stand up. I can tell you that Cameron Henry was an absolute statesman 4 years ago and stood up and said, "Look, we're gonna go find a consensus guy." Right now, that doesn't seem to be happening in the House. We don't have a statesman that stood up and said, "Look, for the better good, this is what we need to do." It's why you need a process. And the calls that I've been receiving, the calls that I've been having out there, every one of them, I'm telling them, listen, it does not matter to me who the Speaker of the House is, as long as it comes out of the Republican House delegation or conference.
And as it should.
As it should. That's exactly right. And what amazes me is, and what I tell them is that, look, Texas, right here, you got an article in Advocate, leaving Louisiana with a degree, college-educated residents going to Texas. Let me tell you.
And by the way, finish the and
what? It's getting worse.
Okay.
And guess what? In Texas, they have a process. They do that. After the elections are held, after the statewide and legislative elections are held, before they're sworn in, their delegation members meet, they come up with a nominee, they choose a nominee that they then go to the floor with, and that's the person everyone gets behind. Yeah. Okay? Now, here's what's amazing to me. The critics out there about what we're trying as we drive people towards a process saying, oh, no, it's got to be a unanimous, it's got to be, everybody's got to get along. Well, let me tell you, I have not found one person who has left Louisiana, who is residing in Texas right now, that's come to me and said, you know, Jeff, I really don't like the way they run Texas politics, or the way they run Florida politics, or the way they run Georgia politics, or the way they run South Carolina politics. But guess what? In all of the states that I mentioned, there is a process under which the majority party, the party that's in the majority, chooses a leader.
Well, how hard is this?
It's not hard, Moon. It's very
Now you know where I get my ham sandwich analogy.
You know what?
One piece of ham, 2 pieces of bread, put 68 people in it, say, make a ham sandwich, guys. It's that simple. It don't mean you don't fight and bicker behind closed doors. You can have a secret vote behind closed doors. You can say, okay, put up the best people. We're going to take the top 2 and vote. And by the way, because I was accused by one of them of saying, well, Moon's guy may not make it. I have no guy. Out of 168 Republicans, I don't care who they pick. I'm going to watch what they do after anyway. That's when I'm going to get involved. But the 68, go in there. Make a decision. You don't need the Democrats. Let me ask you a question. If they had 68 Democrats in the state right now, you think we'd be hearing about?
No, it'd be done.
It would have been over. That's what bothers me about Republicans.
Well, you know,
I'm going to throw this at Jeff. No. Jeff got security with him today, but I threw it at him anyway. It's what bothers me because you just said it, Jeff. Attorney General Jeff Landry, my special guest. You named all these states that are prosperous and doing well, and they have a process. But they don't even have to come up with one. Just go 68, figure out what you want to do, and do it.
You know, most of the time we're sitting here trying to get elected officials. Y'all challenge, when I say you and your listeners out there and the people that care about the state, challenge us as elected officials. We say, y'all tell us, you need to go have political will. What we're talking about doesn't even require political will. It requires will and work. Two W's. Will, the willingness to go to work. And you cannot tell me that in the course of the next 30 days, 68 members cannot come up with a process, run that. And we're talking about a simple process. I mean, this is like elementary. This is like if you were in student government. Guess what? UL has a student government body. They got a process.
Yeah. Well, the process can't be that hard. You can walk up to the mic and say, hey, guys, we're going to do Speaker of the House.
Right.
It's real simple.
Right.
Nominate the people you want to nominate. We're going to take a vote.
And y'all vote. And then the trick, you know, and the thing, and people say, well, you know, why is it just Republicans? Why is it? Because that's why we have a two-party system. No, you're exactly right. And guess what? You know, people say, well, you're dividing the government. You're dividing the country.
No,
here's what I would tell you something. Unity is created through division. And I'll prove this to you. If you had an apple orchard and you told everybody to go pick apples, everybody came to you with the apples, what's the first thing you do? You go through those bushels. Why? Because you want to sort the bad ones from the good ones.
Yep.
You're dividing those apples.
Yep.
And then you take all those bushels after you divide them up and you put them back together. And guess what? So when they go in there and they choose who that person is, whoever it is that receives whatever the requisite number that they want to put together, they should step out there and say, that's the person, he or she, that we're going to work with. And then they go on, and then that's when you go out and you start working with the other side to move policy. And guess what? If the other side doesn't want to work with you, the great news is now we've got the numbers. We can move our policy. And guess what? If our policy is wrong, guess what happens? We pay for it at the ballot box.
But the thing about it is you're not saying you're not working with the other side. That time will come. But for electing when you got the ownership of it, your Speaker, your House, and your 4, 5, or 6 committees and putting the people on the right committees, you owe that to the people that voted for you. You don't owe it going work with the other side. And that's what bothers me. And I want to take a break and come back and talk a little bit about the problems of going out there and getting 20 Republicans with 35 Democrats. Where would your allegiance be?
Well, that's the problem. The problem is that you then become conflicted with what you promised the voters of your particular district to do. Because how can you go out there and work with another side that is for, you know, increasing Medicaid, right? Yeah. Increasing Medicaid to the point where there's no checks and balances. Not being able to put proper checks on controlling the Medicaid budget. Wanting to do things like raising the minimum wage.
Jeff Landry, Attorney General, will come back and do another segment with him. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Y'all all welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Jeff Landry, Attorney General, joins with us. Of course, Jeff was a big part in helping people get elected in the House and Senate. And we're kind of talking about this because there's a little brouhaha building in the House for Speaker and some of the positions. And there's a lot of people think, and Jeff's one of them, and I'm one of them, that believe that 68 Republicans ought to go in there and make the ham sandwich no matter how nasty it gets. or ugly it gets, go and make the ham sandwich, everybody get behind one, and there's some people that don't. And that's my big question to you, Jeff. I got a big concern that you have some Republicans. I'm not going to mention any names while you're here, but you got some Republicans who are willing to go in and say, okay, I can rally 18 to 20 Republicans, and I'll go get the Democrats, and I'll be the Speaker of the House. But what people don't understand is the Speaker of the House is going to help put those chairman committees together and people on those committees. If I'm just between you and me, if you gave me 35 votes and Brandon gave me 20, I'm going to be more obligated to you. So that tells me they could be more obligated to the Democrat than the Republicans. And the Republicans have not a super majority, but right at it.
Well, let me ask you this question. For all of the listeners out there who live in Republican districts, who voted for Republican representatives, the question would be, do you want your representative to support like Medicaid for all with no checks and balances, continuing to raise taxes on the low and middle income families, opposing common sense public safety measures, attacking the oil and gas industry? I'm just asking you, is that what you wanted your representative to go? Because again, if you have to go cobble together leadership based upon that, that's what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you not get that? And look, we just saw.
How many of them people would have voted for that representative, the Republican representative, if they were a Democrat?
None.
And that's what they need to be told. You would not quit. In other words, that's what I'm asking. You know, Jeff, I left the Republican Party. Forget all that.
I know. I'm trying to get you. I got you.
But the reason why I say that is that I left it. Okay, I made my decision. But these people made a decision to be in the Republican Party and to run as a Republican, and then you win, and you're going to turn the back on the very people that put you in there?
Well, that's what I'm trying to challenge. Hey, look, let me step back, too. We've got some great House members. They've done a wonderful job over the last 4 years. Okay, it was an extremely bumpy road. What we, again, are in is what's called growing pains, and I think you're right. I think that the voters out there are looking to see if Republicans can actually govern. Can they match their rhetoric with their actions, right? Can they go out there and promise me they're going to do X and deliver X? Or do they promise me X and do Y? And that's where we are today. And you can't start there without a particular process. And this is easy. I'm telling you, any representative that tells you that this is an impossibility, you send them to me, okay? I can talk to any business guy. I can talk to anybody who runs a family. And you have to have a set of rules and you have to have a set of process in order to run things. All they got to do is go in there and say, okay, look, we got to come up with a process for nominating. Like you said, they can do it. That's how they do it in the U.S. House. That's how they do it in Texas. That's how they do it in the Georgia House, in Florida, in South Carolina. All states that are stealing people from Louisiana, all states that are beating us in all of the particular rankings, and yet we can't find the will for 68 of them to get together and do it. I hope they can do it. They're going to meet next Friday.
You know, it's football. It's football. So, by the way, they're all meeting. I'm glad Lance called the meeting.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There is a caucus meeting coming for that, and that's what bothered me. And I know Lance, and that bothered me. But Lance called a meeting. I talked to him. Lance, they called the meeting. All 68 need to show up. Right. You can't have 34 show up because everybody's mad. Show up. You're going to be coming off a party. You had a few, there's probably going to be deals cut that night.
Some adult beverages?
A lot of adult beverages. But, we were laughing off the air talking about football analogy. These other states you talking about 11-1, trying to get in big bowl games. We're 5-6. We're trying to get to a winning record.
Exactly.
And we're just trying to get to not a bowl eligible. In the state of Louisiana, we're not going to be bowl eligible because we're going to put the 4th-string quarterback in who's been sitting on the bench every day. Well, why don't they just do the right thing so we can be bowl eligible? Let's get close. Let's get moving in the right direction. And we're not.
Well, we talked about it earlier. I was telling you about the analogy about the guy that I ran in from USC who was a big alum and who was complaining. He was telling me how everybody back in California is just, beside themselves about the fact that they just couldn't bring themselves to keep Ogeron.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we are fanatic. Look, I'm so happy that they didn't, right? But their resistance to change and LSU's acceptance of making a change created a winning combination. That's all we're asking for here. All we're saying, all voters are doing is saying, listen, would y'all resist the ability not to change something because the rankings prove that not changing it gets us still where we are, same place, and go and work towards change. And that's I mean,
but the people here, and I'm gonna talk about in the party right now, they act like let's rehire Les Miles and start running the ball. Joe Burrow would have handed off, moved it through.
No, right. Well, Joe Burrow probably wouldn't have got to LSU.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have did anything
place.
new. But Jeff, that's what I've been hollering from the mountaintops for a long time. We need something radical. It's not really radical. It's just changing the way we do things. And the Republican Party has never been sitting prettier in the House and the Senate. They weren't when Bobby Jindal had it. They are now. And for them not to go down and make a decision among themselves is ludicrous. And I'm telling you, the voter back home wouldn't have voted for all these Republicans that don't want to make these changes. They would have voted. They should have ran as a Democrat, and none of them would be there.
Well, I can tell you this.
They use the Republican Party. How about that?
I traveled around the state in working in a number of the campaigns that we worked on, and then, of course, asking voters to go out there and reelect me. And I can tell you, voters right now in Louisiana, the ones that are left, right, because everybody else is leaving, the ones that are left are highly committed to ensuring that their government operates according to the way that they think it should, like the other southern states that are beating us.
Yeah.
And guess what? My belief is that those that don't, those that continue to resist, are going to find themselves out of a job in 4 years.
I hope so. They need to.
No, I'm just saying. It just is. I mean, I don't see any other way. I mean, I think that people are at the point where they're sick and tired of their car insurance rates. They're sick and tired of their roads being completely deplorable. The education system's a mess, and the taxes continue to be raised.
Don't forget,
and all the response out of Baton Rouge is more money, and we can fix it.
Oh yeah, but you can't. You're heading in the right direction. I mean, the wrong direction, but you're headed in that direction still. We hadn't changed it, and I think the president of the House. President said the House Speaker is that important. We got redistricting coming up.
Oh yeah.
You know, we better do something about jobs and businesses and tort reform. And don't worry about if the governor's going to veto them. That's not important. You get the job done. We're not going to get it done if you make it done if you're making deals with the left. You don't make deals with the left when you don't have to. If 68 Democrats, like you said, were running this, they would already had the speaker. All that chairman stuff would be field done. What we doing with Republicans, we're going to beat each other up.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to be able to get in there and come up with a process. Then they have to run that particular process through. Again, this is not difficult.
How hard is the process? This is like 1 + 1 is 2 + 1 is 3.
These are people that are tasked with writing the laws of this state. I mean,
and they can't get that straight.
Well, I'm not going to say that they can't. I think I'm going to leave a little hope. You know, hope brings eternal life, right?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you really have a lot of hope that these guys are going to finally come to their senses and do the right thing?
I do, because I think more and more people are paying attention to what they're doing. I think that having this discussion.
I hadn't told anybody. I just want to let you know that.
Well, we appreciate that. But I do. You know, I think Lance calling the meeting is step one. I think seeing who shows up in the meeting, which to me, you should have at least 60. You know, you can have 8 people that might get the flu, get sick, or have issues back home. But you're right, they're having a big party on Thursday night, which they should celebrate Christmas, and get in there and come up with a process. And if they run out of time on Friday, say, listen, we're going to come back Monday. Okay, I mean they can do that, and they don't have to do it in Baton Rouge. They can do it in Alexandria.
What did you say? Will to work?
Willing to work and get it done.
This is a no-brainer is what frustrates me. And by the way, my biggest thing that I've done this for the last few days is I'm getting calls from people from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and I'm not even really in those areas that want to know what's being said, so they're listening to the podcast.
Well, let me tell you this. I'll finish with this. I got a call from a good friend of mine who is successful in business. Calls me up because he's listening to you, and he's like, Jeff, I just don't understand. I talked to my representative. I said, get your representative on the phone. I said, let's talk to him. And so we talk, and then I lay out what they need to do. Say, look, they just need a process. And the guy says, well, yeah, meaning the business guy. He's like, well, that's basic.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's like black and white. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm hoping the House members glean from this is that people want a process.
Yeah, they do.
It's simple.
Jeff Landry, Attorney General. Thanks, Jeff. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
All right, you too, bud. We got to take a quick break. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Listen to this, folks. Everybody talks about we don't have money for roads. Everybody talks about we ain't got enough money for health care and higher ed. We ain't got enough money for pre-K. We ain't got enough money. All right. I'm going to show you why. I've been showing this for 26 years on this program. Okay. Conference Center at Black Bear Golf Club, Delhi, Louisiana, home of the fee, Francis Thompson. Okay, so here's what they got going on. Your money being spent. This is a golf course. They've got a pond, a lake. They got a hotel now. You pay for all that. Loses money every year. Loses his rear end off. Okay? But guess what? They don't get the visitors there. But they're going to put a new conference center there. $3,357,000. The project is a conference center that will be located adjacent to the existing Black Bear Golf Clubhouse. The two buildings will be physically connected by a roof over a breezeway, which will allow access from the parking lot to the golf course and between the two buildings when necessary. The new conference center, $3,357,000 out of your money, will consist of a lobby that is separated from the actual conference area, a conference dining area to accommodate 200 people seated in their chairs at tables, table and chair storage, a standalone commercial kitchen, another kitchen, an associated serving line, plate drop-off, washing area, pantry, men and women's toilets, well, at least they're big into toilets, that probably gold-plated, that are accessible from the interior and exterior associated ancillary spaces, including mechanical, electrical, telecom, janitor, sprinklerizing, room, large covered area, patio area, and room, front and rear of the building. The new construction will complement the existing Black Bear Golf Clubhouse, where nobody goes, which was constructed in 2006. The only people that ever made money on these golf course and lake up there is the Thompsons. Francis the Fee Thompson. Thompson said in an article one time, for our place, this lake and golf course was more important than roads. It is. This is why we're not building roads. We're building conference centers in the middle of nowhere, on a golf course in the middle of nowhere, that most people don't go to. The city, the little town of Delhi, if they were told them tomorrow, okay, this is your project, y'all do it, no more state money, would tell us to take a flying leap. They would not take it because they can't make it work. But they can count on old Francis the Fee Thompson. Keep bringing in that money, and then all they're going to do is we're going to hear John Bell Edwards tell us how we got to raise taxes to fix roads. And these projects like this have been going on for the whole 44 years he's been there and longer. And this is why we last, folks. Leadership with no vision. Putting a new conference hall in a place that nobody goes. It loses money every year. It never can make money. It was never designed to make money. I wonder how many houses are being sold on that lake right now, Brandon. I just wonder how many, man, at one time they had some houses for sale on that lake. This is where your money's at. So I'm supposed to go and just say, well, no problem. Let's just raise taxes on Brandon and Moon and everybody else because we need to build a conference center, Delhi, Louisiana, off a golf course that nobody goes to. They get a little bit of traffic in the spring. Okay? But when it gets hot and cold, ain't nobody up there. This is people that tell me this that live there. But boy, we need to spend almost $3.5 million on that, baby. We only spent $34 million on teachers' pay raises. We spent 10% on a conference hall in Delhi, Louisiana. From a deal maker like Francis Thompson, the fee. There's no telling what they put in West Wego for John Hilario. Oh, never mind. They built 22 centers after him and ballparks after him. And unbelievable. All right, let's go. Just to let you know where your money's at when they come tell you they need taxes for roads. And that's why I'm always leery when people start talking about taxes and road taxes, because they won't tell us what they did with the money to begin with. I can tell you what they do with the money they get. We build conference hall off a golf course that nobody plays. It's a losing proposition. God have mercy. I'm talking about a losing proposition. That's what Louisiana does. Let's keep investing in our infrastructure, Brandon. Let's build a conference hall on the back of a golf course that nobody uses. That makes sense to me. Build a lake and build a reservoir and build a golf course, man, and by the roads are crumbling, they come back to you and go, well, you know, we ain't raised the tax in 30 years for gas. Gas tax in 30 years to build our roads. Our roads are going to hell in a handbasket. But hey, we got some nice golf courses. And nice conference centers, nice lakes, nice bike trails to nowhere. Gee whiz. This is what we fight. This is Good Old Boy Network. This is under the leadership of the great John Bell Edwards. What a joke. You know, the people that voted for him, I'm not talking about blacks and general people vote for Democrats. I'm talking about people that you wouldn't think would vote that way. This is what they voted for. All the money that came in, pro-abortion, all the money that came in, get rid of the Second Amendment, all the money that came in, when redistricting come, they're trying to create another minority district to go up there and impeach Donald Trump. That's what you voted for. It's okay, don't worry about it. You're smarter than me. Absolutely, you're smarter than me. What ignorance is there out there from the people that I think is pretty smart people sometimes. We'll be right back. Hi, hello, welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Stephanie Grace and Pearson Cross and them all coming down on Kennedy. Kennedy said nothing wrong. And let me just play this from Fox. Brandon, if we could play this. This is really telltale of what happened. Yet Stephanie Grace and Pearson Cross, both idiots in our state, they go in the other direction.
I think both Russia and Ukraine meddled in the 2016 election. The fact that Russia was so aggressive does not exclude the fact that President Poroshenko actively worked for Secretary Clinton.
All right, that was Senator John Kennedy over the weekend saying he believes Russia and Ukraine meddled in our 2016 election, claiming the former Ukrainian president had ties to Hillary Clinton. Then Hillary Clinton went after the senator, tweeting, Senator Kennedy, why are you parroting Russian propaganda that U.S. intelligence officials tell us are designed to divide our country? Did you miss the briefing that day? Well, Senator John Kennedy joins us right now from the Russell Rotunda. Senator, did you miss the briefing that day?
I think I tweeted back to Secretary Clinton, Bless your heart, Madam Secretary. I hope you're well, and I meant it. I try not to worry too much about what anyone thinks about me, except dogs. I like dogs. I think what the Secretary is talking about is I was asked if Russia or Ukraine had tried to influence our 2016 election, and I said both, and I believe both. I based that on 8 long opinion pieces, op-ed pieces in the Politico, Financial Times, The Hill, Washington Examiner, CBS News, Economist, Bloomberg News, and the New York Times, all reputable periodicals and newspapers. And the Politico headline, for example, was Ukraine efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. Mm-hmm. The Financial Times, this is August of 2016. It's a really good piece. Headline is Ukraine's leaders campaign against Trump. Bloomberg News headline is, quote, Ukrainian officials meddled in 2016 election by leaking secret Manafort ledger. Court says. They're referring to a court in Ukraine that found that their public officials had meddled in our election.
So, Senator, while, you know, a lot of people say, look, we know it's been proven that Russia was involved, and then Senator Kennedy's talking about Ukraine, that's just a conspiracy theory. But you are citing those news sources as proof that there's some there, right?
Well, no, I don't believe that I don't believe the Politico and Financial Times and Bloomberg and the Washington Examiner are fake news. I mean, I think they're reputable. They're reputable members of the media, and they're reporters. I trust them.
Sure. So, Senator,
and
then
even if I didn't, their lawyers aren't going to let them print lies.
That's exactly right. So, why are so many people coming after you?
I think many of my Democratic friends think that this somehow undermines their impeachment case against the president. I'm not sure why, because the Ukrainian government, not the people, but the government, and everybody knows this, it's well documented, is historically and organically corrupt. Now, I hope that the new president, Zelensky, does much better, and I want him to succeed. But President Poroshenko, he did try to influence our election, as these journalists have pointed out. Right. And President Yanukovych was just as corrupt as he could be. Now, that doesn't mean that Russia didn't try. Russia was the master. Russia is a third-rate country with great cyber skills, good spies, and nuclear weapons. And they did try to, big time, influence our election in 2016. But I believe, based on this reporting, that so did Ukraine.
All right. There you go. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from the great state of Louisiana. Senator, thank you very much.
All right, there it is, folks. And that really sums it up. So when Stephanie Grace writes a piece about him being a clown and a willing dupe, and then Pearson Cross tweets and sends stuff out, it shows their ignorance. John Kennedy was right on the money. There's no doubt he's on the money. Ukraine that's as sorry as any. That's a fifth world country. And so I wanted to take up for John, because what Stephanie Grace is doing, this is John George's newspaper, and they're never going to be fair. Okay, they hate Trump and anybody associated with him. That's just what they do. They hate him. And so does Pearson Cross. These people have no credibility, none whatsoever, and they're never going to have credibility. I'd stand right by Kennedy. I'm glad he made the comments that he made. And if Hillary Clinton's mad at you, you're in good shape, as far as I'm concerned. If Hillary Clinton, that was the Democrat Party's nominee 3 years ago to be president of the United States, crooked Hillary.
I just wouldn't recommend getting too much on her bad side.
Going Hillary?
Yes.
No, because then you won't have no good sides left. These people, they've been dangerous all along, but people still vote for them and still support people like that. And so it's just amazing. But Kennedy has nothing to apologize for. Absolutely nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. And I'm glad he stood up. Somebody has to stand up. And they did all the interviews. But what happens is when Hillary and them start going after somebody, they just go after people. And they always got the willingness of the press, people like Stephanie Grace, okay, and people like Pearson Cross. And these people are socialist, Marxist type people. They really are. They're not even good Louisiana people. They need to go ahead and go to Washington, D.C. and get a job, or they can write about this crap. So I just don't see where Kennedy made a bad mistake saying what he said. It doesn't mean Russia's not involved. Doesn't mean Ukraine's not involved. Russia may be the worst of all, but Ukraine's no better. And then that's the ones that they're trying to base an impeachment on for Donald Trump. Just unbelievable. Let me get a call in, Brandon. Let's go to Buck on the road. Buck, how you doing, sir?
Good, Moon. Hey, one thing the Democrats are famous for is accusing you of what they've been doing.
Absolutely. They're pros at it.
Yep, and they're going after Senator Kennedy so hard. It's not that they're ignorant. They know that he's close to uncovering or to exposing what they've been doing with Ukraine and how much they interfered in the election. So they have to go and, call him crazy. And why don't you believe Obama's intelligence officials? And that's why he's getting such a hard time. Yeah,
and you're right on the money. You're 100% on the money. It's just a shame that they continue to do this. If the media was really the media that our Constitution talked about, and they covered things fairly, didn't care if you were Republican, Democrats, and did it fairly, none of this would be taking place. The impeachment hearings would be a joke. People would have laughed and already wrote them off. And the same thing with Kennedy. It's just a matter of they got an agenda. They hate. First of all, they hate God. They hate the Constitution. They hate freedom. So if you're on any of those sides, they're going to hate you.
Yep.
So,
I could go into that all day, but that's why they're after Senator Kennedy.
Yeah, no doubt. You're right on the money. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Buck. All right, we got to take a break.